What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video of Daring Motors. Today we're going to be working on this Saturn Ion Redline here, and we're going to be installing a cold air intake. So that's going to get us some air from a colder spot, so that way we can get some more power in this thing. So let's go ahead and show you what's going on here, and don't forget to hit that like button and consider subscribing. So let's get going. Alright guys, so we're looking in the engine bay here, and pretty dirty, so ignore all that. But right here we have the supercharger, and then coming down over here we have the intake that goes down, and you can see the mass airflow sensor here. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be replacing this that goes down all the way underneath there with a new cold air intake. So let's go show you that. Alright, so here we have our new cold air intake set up. So we have these two pipes, and it's going to go back behind the fender well, so we're going to install that. I just want to give a big thanks to ZZP. They're not sponsoring this at all, but they do make great products. So if you have any cars like this, or they even have a lot of different performance parts for cars, go ahead and check them out. I'll leave a link down below. So the first thing we need to do is we need to get this old intake removed, and also we're going to need to lift it up, get this fender well removed on this side, and then we're going to get going from there. So let's go ahead and get started. Alright guys, so to remove this we have a hose, a little clamp here that we're going to loosen with 8mm. Just kidding, it's actually a 7mm, so we're going to loosen that. And then we also have some screws down here. So you've got one screw here, one screw under this radiator hose, and one in the back. So I'm going to use this nice long extension with the Phillips head on it. And we're going to loosen those up as well. Right, now that we got all those loose, we can kind of pull this back here. We also need to remember to disconnect our mass airflow sensor connector. So unplug that. And we also have this hose right here will disconnect. So if you want, you can also loosen it down here to remove this and fight that easier, which is what I'm going to do. Piece off. So we're going to want to make sure we keep this mass airflow sensor, because that's going to go on our new intake. And there we have the factory is removed. So now let's get this car lifted up so we can take a look through the wheel well. Alright, so now I got this up, we're going to remove the wheel well liner, and so I'm just going to kind of go fast through that. So I'll go ahead and just stick around and watch this real quick. that removed. The biggest thing is we need to get this whole assembly out. That comes right down here, down over to here. So we're gonna remove that, and there's one bolt hidden right. See if I can get a good shot for you. Right there. There's that bolt, and then we gotta loosen up that clamp right there. So we're gonna do that now and take it from there. We got her out. Alright guys, now we're gonna get the whole new one all prepped up. First thing we gotta do is we gotta take out this old mass airflow sensor. So we got a 5.5 mil. We're gonna loosen these. We're gonna pop this out. Just like that. Get the old one out. And also there's a screw in here that you're gonna wanna remove. Because we're gonna need that later. So now we're going to install the new mass airflow sensor and transfer it over. You're going to want to note the orientation because this is one direction. So I'm just looking at the bottom here, and there's a bigger piece down here, which is going to match up with this wider piece over here. Like so. We're going to use the provided screws. And tighten them down. There's one. Here's the other. Okay, so now that we've got that on, we're going to need to also put one of these clamps in here. So we're going to slide this over. Without knocking you over. There we go. We're going to put a hose clamp on and another one on. I'm just going to tighten them down a little bit so that way they don't fall when I'm putting this in. Okay, so now we got this all prepped. Now we're going to go set it in the car. Now I'm going to slide this tube up and through this hole, so I'm going to leave you guys here as I slide that through. Alright guys, so I got this slid on here, and I did remove that spacer because it was actually kind of off. I don't understand why, but that's what we're going to do for now. I'm going to get these hose clamps moved up, and I'm not going to tighten them fully, just kind of close. So we got those secured for now. So now we're going to move on to the next step. Alright guys, so now we're under the car, and now I'm going to take this spacer that I thought was for up there, it's definitely not, right or wrong, and we're going to put it right up on here. And thread it on to the lower washer stud right there. Okay, so now that's on. We're going to move on to the next step. Alright, so I also got this other silicone clamp installed with a hose clamp here that's attaching to the pipe that comes down from up there, as you can see. So now we're gonna move on to getting the next part of this installed. So we're gonna need to slide this pipe here. I got this little bracket installed, and we're gonna have to slide it up, attached to there, and it's gonna be sliding and popping out there. So I'm gonna try and set this camera up best I can, so you guys can kind of see what I'm doing, but it's even hard for me to see, so let's get going. Get this nut right there tightened up. So I'm going to work on that. Alright guys, so we got that installed. Here it is. Got this bolt back here tightened up. Clamp is tightened up. Now it's time to get the air filter. Alright guys, so we got that cold air intake installed. Here it is right here. We got this plugged in. We got the PCV hose plugged in right there. They had to make a new one. Now came back here because boy was that old one brittle. So now I'm going to give you guys a little startup and see how this supercharger sounds now with this cold air intake. Alright, so now we got it installed, so now we're going to do a little drive so we can hear the difference of the supercharger with the cold air intake.